hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And the back car restarts up we go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome to Goat Talk Live.
I don't know. I get a little tired of hearing, right?
The 99 is terrible. Here, I'm lacking for some reason. It's real white and flabby.
WTF. What are we doing?
Eddie, I tell everybody who'll listen that we're a really big deal.
Continues to grow and grow and grow.
Well, here we are. Welcome. It is a Thursday night, so you know what time it is. It is Goat Talk here with Eddie and Pat, and it's presented by SAVE22. And man, what a pleasure and what an exciting moment tonight is to have, well, the man himself, John Moser. You got the SAVE22 shirt on, and man, thank you, John, for being here with us tonight. How y'all doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing great, and I'm excited. I saw your intro. I got all pumped up. I got goosebumps. My hair's sticking up. Man, I'm ready to go. Got the SAVE22 logo on the screen. I'm very excited to see that for the year. And you guys are going to do great. This is going to be great.
Pat, how we doing tonight, brother?
Man, I'm excited. You know, I get to hang out with John again, which is always a good time. I get to hang out with, I always point the wrong direction, don't I? Like, I can't figure this out yet. It's that direction. I get to hang out with Eddie.
Yeah.
You see, you get to do that. I get to get confused and go this direction and all those types of things. It's always fun, man. When we get together and we do these podcasts, it's a great time. And to bring our partners and our sponsors on board as well, have a conversation with them. This is going to be cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, SAVE22 came on as a sponsor for Goat Talk, and man, we can't appreciate you guys for coming on board. So it's so exciting to have you on early, John. And kind of want to shout you out real quick and let everybody know that's watching right now. We'll give it at the end of the broadcast, but save22.vet is the website, and there you see a YouTube channel at Save22Vet. John, you've been doing some Tuesday talks on Tuesday. You just started, you 2 episodes in. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, and I'm gonna give you the floor, but I just want to say that I really enjoyed the episodes that I watched today. Really incredible stuff. A new perspective for me that I hadn't considered, and I hope to talk to you a little bit about that. But
yeah, sure. Yeah, we did. We just started it on Tuesday. You know, it was a long time coming. I had done a podcast called Straight Talk, presented by Johnny Moser Media. That was me a few years back, and I did it for, I don't know, 50, 60 episodes or something. Yeah. And, you know, that started because of SAVE22. I got called up by Albert Wooden, the then president of SAVE22, and he says, man, we'd like you to go visit the racetrack. I'm like, as SAVE22 or what? And he's like, no, take your gloves, take your, you know, go wrench if you want. And I was in my head at the time, big time. And I made my wife go with me. I met the team. I hung out. I had a great time. I got hired to go be for 5 days. I was like, holy cow. And I met this woman, Sonia, who asked me about my story and SAVE22. And it turned into her saying, I want to help you. Let's get your story out in SAVE22. And we talked about it. So I mentioned SAVE22 all the time. We got it out for a little bit and then just kind of fell off. Well, last year, I got into disability time, right? I can't work anymore. I can't, and I don't like that word, right? The job I was in, I could no longer perform beneficial duties, right? Let's, whatever. And I had some time, and I went through the disability. I went through the death of my father. I went through a lot of things. My daughter in the Thunderbirds, and man, I'm like, dude, I really need to start talking again, right? Like I need to. I can't keep dumping all this stuff on these 2, 3 guys that are mine. And we were trying to figure out a way how to do it through Johnny Mo Media, and I finally just said, you know what, get it. We're just gonna put it out as SAVE22. You
Yeah.
know, our key is, our motto is, if you're struggling, let's talk about it. So, you know what? Let's talk about it. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you that we mean business when we say let's talk. So Albert and I said, let's do it. Let's get together Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock and let's just talk. And we'll show everybody that that's really who we are. So, you know, it's great to hear Eddie say that he saw it and was impressed, and it gave him a new perspective. We did have one person call and said they learned something right after the show, and you know, it's a good feeling. You know, it's hard to give yourself credit for something, especially
Mm.
guys like me, right? And I don't know about Pat. I know a little bit about your story and
Mhm.
why Goat Locker and Goat Talk. And you know, if this is the extent of my involvement in how I help others and share my story and keep myself sober and happy and contributing to society, then so be it, man. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but we're gonna give it a shot.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're in chat right now, I want you to go to that link. I
Mhm.
want you to go to at SAVE22 on YouTube, and I want you to subscribe. We're going to get the subscription numbers up. I want you to hit the notification bell because and go listen to those Tuesday talks. I will, I'm not, I was not in the military, but what I love to hear is the perspectives and understanding that I can't, as just a civilian that doesn't understand what it's like, to hear your perspectives on things, and to hear the thing like you talked in your last episode about just how coming out of the service and having to just talk to your wife a certain way. She's not going to be okay
Yeah.
talking a certain
Mhm.
way, and in the military, they say things like brief, brilliant, gone. We don't have time to spend a whole lot of time, yapping about stuff. And so get to the point and get out of here, and so
Right.
it's interesting to hear that having to come home and change and all the things that go into that. And it definitely seems like that is something, I'm sure both of you have dealt with, that is hard to kind of get back and go, I'm not there anymore. I'm here. And, I've got to adjust to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to put that into words, what happens when you leave the military. Everybody's heard the whole thing about being institutionalized and those types of things, and that's a very real thing. I spent 24 years in the Navy, basically my entire adult life, from the age of 18 to the age of 43. That's what I did. That's what I identified as, and and when
Right.
you step away from that, you lose a part of you, which is very hard to explain. There's a void that just exists. And so you try to find different ways to fill that void. And, it's everything. I make fun and I laugh about some things now. It wasn't funny at the time. It is the very basic thing of like, what do I call myself? I'm no longer a senior chief in the Navy, and everybody called me senior chief, and, so easy to do. Now who am I? And then, it's even the funny things like, how do I dress myself?
Huh?
For 24 years, it was flip flops and cargo shorts or a uniform. That's it. I didn't have to think about how to dress myself. I put on a uniform, rock and roll. I get home, I throw on some cargo shorts and some flip flops. It was super easy. But when you leave that and you hang those uniforms up, and they kind of hang out in your closet for a little while because you don't want to quite put them away yet. Then eventually they kind of find their way into like a box or whatever, and they get put away. That takes its time because you don't want to let go of that. You want to hold on to that for all that you have, because it's who you are. And you've really got to go through what I call an identity crisis for a little while. And for some, it takes years. But yeah, it's
painful.
crazy. I mean, I had to learn how to dress myself again. You know, I had to go to the men's warehouse and figure out what business casual was. And I swear to this day, when I walked into the men's warehouse, they just saw sucker across my head because I spent a lot of money at that joint. Trying to figure out what do I got to wear to go to an interview. What the hell is business casual? I don't even know what I got a dress shirt and jeans and I don't know. I spent a lot of money. I made a lot of money. So it's all those different things that happen, figuring out who you are, figuring out, what to call yourself, I hate to say it like this, but it's like reintegrating into society.
Yeah.
And how to deal with a lot of people. So it can be
It-
tough, really tough.
It can be really tough. I'm laughing because you talk about learning to buy your own clothes, going to the men's warehouse, and how to talk to your wife. I dropped $680 at the men's warehouse a month ago. I just walked in. I walked in. I had my leather jacket on and my riding vest.
Mhm.
Right. I pull out of my black truck, and I hadn't shaved in, I don't know, a week and a half. I need to learn how to dress. And I met this guy, Trevor, and he was fantastic. He's
Mhm.
like, "What are you looking to do?" I said, "Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I lost 100 pounds in the last couple of years. I'm now in a speaking position. I'm going to be in front of a lot of people, but I want to be comfortable too. Can you just help me out?" And when you're willing to admit that you don't know something
Mhm.
and you go to the person who does and you listen, amazing how great you'll feel
I love
in
it.
the simplest
Yeah.
simplest forms.
Well,
The
I
simplest
think
forms.
ego is a man's downfall anyway. We have just the hardest time admitting a couple things when we don't know something or when we're wrong, and we seem to really struggle with
Mhm.
those two things the most, no matter where
Mhm.
you come from. I want to back up just a little bit, John, and I don't want to
Yeah.
derail the conversation, but there's so many things interesting about you that I want to know more about. Now, I want to know about that Dayton Air Show where you got to see the C5 for the first time. That's what I want to hear about. I want to get to know you a little bit. You're a big part of what Goat Walker is about.
Mhm.
This is going to be a beautiful marriage, I say, because I think the missions are so similar in a lot of ways, and I can't wait to kind of talk about where the train tracks sort of intersect about that a little bit later. But I want to know about that Dayton Air Show when you were a kid and you got to see that C5 for the first time.
Man, it's goosebumps.
Mhm.
That's what it was. That's what it was. I knew, right? I knew. I walked in there, my mom and my dad, I'm in between them. And, I was a little kid. Little, like I graduated high school at like 5'3", right? Like I was 98 pounds. I was a tiny kid. And I just remember the enormity of the C5 and hearing them say that the Wright brothers' first flight could take place inside of that C5.
Mhm.
And I was just hooked. I was just hooked. The guys in the uniform, the pilots, the flight suits, everything. I was hooked. And I was always into the military stuff because of my dad. He was a tank recovery specialist in the Ohio Army National Guard. And unfortunately, my dad passed away in June of 2024, and without the veteran status, right? Because he was a guardsman from 65 to 73. So I know Patrick understands that. Eddie,
Mhm.
I know a lot of people aren't going to understand that, but Eddie knows what that means to me, and or Pat knows what that means to me. And I was into the war movies that he liked, right? So Vietnam was heavy when I was
Mhm.
born. I got into the Rocky Bleier story, right? I've met Rocky a couple times and had mental health discussions with him. What a incredible guy that he is, right? And uh, I just I gravitated towards the Air Force. I wanted to go be a Marine. I'm not gonna lie. The guys, I was a senior. They came back. They're in their Class A's. God, I want to go be a Marine.
Mhm.
And I walked into the Marine recruiter, and you're too little. What? There's a height requirement to be a Marine? What? Yeah, and you don't meet it. And this is like 80, 87, 80, yeah, 87 or something. So no internet, right? The only thing
Mhm.
you got's the recruiting poster, and that man is God. His word is his word. That's it. You don't question it, right? He said, "Why don't you go see the Air Force?" I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll go see the Air Force." So I go see the Air Force, and man, I wanted to be a pilot, and they're like, "Nope, can't be a pilot. Your eyesight's too bad." Okay. I want to be on airplanes somehow. Having a discussion with my dad, he said, "Use your head for something other than target practice." And I went into electronics, and man, the rest is history.
You're a field engineer on the C-130, right?
Flight engineer.
Flight engineer, sorry.
Yeah, but that wasn't my only job. So, ironically, I went into aircraft maintenance at the beginning, and I traveled a lot. I moved around a lot. I had 4 bases in 6 years. Typically doesn't happen. I had two shutdown units, a remote tour, and then I got over to AWACS. But I was on F4 Wild Weasels as electronic warfare, wartime position only, right? Like not a lot of stuff happening stateside with that. They use it, but it doesn't get utilized, and it's boring. So I hung out with crew chiefs. I was a racer as a kid. I was all about motorcycles and cars and hot rods and just let me get dirty and change the oil and do engines. And so that's what I did everywhere I went. I hung out with crew chiefs, but I kept the um, electronic warfare job and got out in '99. A lot of reorg going on back then, Pat. With
Oh
the
yeah.
Clinton thing
Mhm.
and all that hoopla going on. And then 9/11 happened, and I went back in. And the wife had said, you're not who you were when you were in. You're different, right? And she was right. I am. I was. I don't. It's funny you talk about this. Am I getting off topic, or are we good?
No, you're good. Yeah, your
We
name's on the show, brother.
not my name, SAVE22. SAVE22. But you get into that that negative thinking of where you're no longer at, right? Instead of focusing on mindfulness and where you are and what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm sure we'll get into it later, but I was just always hooked on airplanes, man. And at 38 years old, I got to live my dream, and I became a flight engineer for the Air Force.
That's
And my
awesome.
wife pinned my wings on me, man.
Wow.
And I got them tattooed on my arm. Like that's a big accomplishment for
Yeah.
me. And it didn't mean anything. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like you get there, you stand up front, you got your wings on. It don't matter to nobody else but me. And then you get out and you look at your rack, whether it's 6 ribbons or 30 ribbons. They don't mean anything. And the certificates on the wall, they don't mean anything. And the people that you're working with at a civilian job, they don't know what you did. They don't know what you went through. They don't know that you saw, bloodshed or bombs, and they have first world problems, right? Like, bro, you're making $100,000 a year and you're bitching because you spent $6 on a coffee. Really? Did you ever go 3 days without coffee? Right? Like, did you ever eat powdered eggs for 3 weeks in Bagram? I mean, I didn't do that. I had a buddy that did, but you get
Mhm.
stuck in those kind of feelings. Like
Mhm.
these people don't understand me,
Yeah.
but I ain't gonna tell them.
Yeah.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm too tough. I ain't
Yeah.
saying shit. I got this. And then one day, one thing happens. One stupid, insignificant thing, and you break.
Mhm.
Right? You interpret something wrong, whatever. And man, it can be hard. So I got off topic there a little bit. We were talking about airplanes and stuff, but man,
You're good.
I love them.
You're
I love
good.
them. I love the airplanes.
Well,
I love them.
I'm 37. If I could ever put my hands on an F-22, that would be my bucket list. So I love them as well. And of course, it's so cool to have you in here, who's in the Air Force, and then Pat. I just learned this the other day. I didn't know this. He worked on Tomcats of all
I did.
things. That's
Right?
the cool. Why do you not tell people this stuff? I don't understand. You would never.
Well,
Nobody would ever talk to
Because it was a
me.
job.
I don't
It was
yeah.
a
care.
job. It was a job to us, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody around us did it, and it wasn't as cool to us as it is to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we get back, when we start talking, Pat and I start talking at it's all of a sudden I understand his language, he understands mine. I know what it's like to crawl around an aircraft in 0-degree weather in a snowstorm. You know what I mean? Like blistering heat and steering rain or whatever.
They're not
the
always
words I'm
good
looking for.
memories.
No,
They're not.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
But then you're going through your box of stuff one day, moving stuff around, and you see a picture of you and your buddies drinking a freaking Guinness in Scotland, right? And you're like, all right, it wasn't that bad,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't that bad,
Well,
right? You're still here.
well, in Goat Locker, we're always talking or just talking about community. We're always talking about the brotherhood, and
Right.
I feel like that's what I love about Goat Locker is it's trying to recreate what you just said. The good memories are the ones you spent with your brothers, and the brothers, you know, that you built relationships with and stuff like that. And I feel like that is what Goat Locker has sort of created for vets and first responders and everybody that supports them, because it's like, hey, here, come here. We will fill that void. And I've heard Pat 1,000 times. I've heard you talk about diversion therapy, and how much that's needed. You know, and Goat Locker's providing that. You know, I know we're here to talk about SAVE22, but just like I wanted to marry the two. Why is SAVE22 and Goat Locker? You know, why are they crossing paths? It's because they are fighting for the same thing, and they have the same goals. And that's so cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's being out there, being out at the events, right? And the way that we connected is crazy because we weren't going to be in Martinsville, right? I did not have anybody that could make it to Martinsville that weekend that Nick Trussell went down and hung out with Mike Harmon in the Xfinity pits, right? And Taylor Kitchens above the yellow line was on a car, I think is what it was.
Yep.
And they were pushing a car out, or she saw Nick's sticker, or Nick saw her sticker, and they started talking. And the next thing you know, I'm on the phone with Taylor. Then I'm talking with Pat. Then I got other people. We're talking about nonprofits and land and diversion therapies and programs. And I'm like, you are doing everything that I wanted to do here at SAVE22, but haven't had the opportunity. Boy, this could be incredible, you know? And we are moving into a different realm, right? There's 40 drivers in Winston Cup. Well, all right, I'm old. Winston Cup. There's 40 drivers at the top level. 40. And the crewmen are NCAA and former professional athletes.
Yes.
What chance does the shade tree mechanic working at the local track have these days to get in if you don't have corporate sponsorship? They're bringing these guys in at 19, 20 years old to drive these cars, right? So you got to have an outlet, right? I still love to wrench. I still love to race, right? The camaraderie, the rules, the gentlemanship, right? The sportsmanship of racing. And when Pat told me that they race 5 and 6 nights a week and they're broadcast every time, and they're going to start this podcast and they're going to do it live, and I'm like, it can't be any more perfect. You have to open your ears to what's going on around you if you want to get out of that shell. And you know what? I opened my ears. I talked to my people at SAVE22. They're all for it. Everybody's on board with this. We think this is an incredible opportunity to reach a different demographic that we haven't ventured out into, right? And what better way to do it than put our logo on Pat's car and sponsor your talk? This is what we do. We want you to talk. You don't have to come to us and talk. We want you to go find that 3 a.m. friend that when you're panicked and you're freaking out and you got those sweats and you don't know what's happening, that you pick up that phone and go, I don't know. All right, bro, I got you. I got you. I got you. Let's talk it out. Where are you at right now? All right, let's bring you back to right now. And I think racing has that effect, man. The brotherhood, the sportsmanship, the competitiveness, the individuality, all of it wrapped into one. I couldn't be happier. This is going to be great. This is gonna be
It's
great.
been it's been incredible. And slight correction, John. We're running 7 nights a week now because we just can't seem to stop growing.
More bang for my buck.
Well,
You know, there are
we got to get
there
Trump
are
to add an 8th day to the calendar.
something's got to happen because Go Locker Racing is doing 8 things in a 7-day week. You know,
Hey, good for
so
you. Good
you
for
know
you. Keep it
the late
going.
model race just wrapped up. You know, right before Goat Talk and everything too. And, you know, John talked about it a lot. And, you know, everything that we're doing here at Goat Locker Racing is to reach more and more people and to bring more and more people into what we're doing. Because not only is it a whole heck of a lot of fun, at least most of the time, sometimes it's not so fun. But, you know, hey, that happens as well. But some of the coolest experiences that I get with it, I'm not going to say the direct messages I get because those are usually not so nice. I seem to be the most hated man in Goat Locker Racing for some reason, or at least the most picked on one. Let's go with that. We're going to go with that one right there.
It's probably just your perception.
You know, maybe that's what it is. But to see some of these guys really become friends, like you watch them go back and forth and their banter back and forth, and you know they join up and they join on teams together and they develop these really strong relationships. Or you sit back and you just kind of watch them talk a whole lot of shit back and forth, and you go, "Man, we're home."
Yeah.
You know, this is home,
Right.
and they're going back and forth. And the funnest part about it, there's so many fun parts, and I could go on for eons about this, is to watch a couple of guys, or 3 or 4 or 6, depends on who jumps in, just go at each other. I mean, they're MFing each other this, and they're your mom that, and all kinds of crazy stuff. And then like 2 hours later, they're like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" You know, they're back to just being buddies. And there's nothing more military than that right there. Like you
Right.
take somebody out, you know, to the ups van or something like that, and you're just like, "Hey, dude," you have that good one-on-one or one-way conversation with them, and you know, 30 minutes later, you're grabbing a beer at the, you know, the base pub or whatever, and everything's all good, man. So it is incredible for me to watch. It's incredible for me to be a part of. And then we've said it a couple different times. You know, it's always crazy to me how you find yourself in a conversation or you find yourself in a meeting, and then I found myself, you know, talking to Taylor, who's just been an incredible supporter of Goat Locker Racing, and she's made some incredible connections as well. And she's like, "Hey, you need to I need to make this introduction to SAVE22." And then I'm in a meeting with John and Alan and you know a few people, and that was a great meeting. And then it was a few days later, me and John got on a call, and my gosh, I think we talked for 2 hours, if not longer.
Yeah, it was a
Uh,
long time.
yeah, and just really connected about our missions and where we'd both been through and the things that we had done. So yeah, I mean, this is it's too cool, and I can't wait for this year to even gain more traction. We've got some in-person events we're going to do together. We've already
Yep.
earmarked the first weekend in May. SAVE22 and Goat Locker Racing will be in Massillon, if that's how you say that. I have no
That's
idea.
how you say it. Yep.
Learning.
Nailed
We'll be
it.
in Massillon, Ohio. SAVE22 does a hike every single year. It is a very big deal. And so Goat Locker Racing's coming out there with the mobile sim. We're taking the car out there. We're going to set up. We're going to have a great time and be a part of this awesome event the first weekend in May. I'm excited for some of the other things we're going to get ready to do with them as well. So y'all just stay tuned. You're going to
Yeah,
find me and
hang
John
on.
at a racetrack chugging a couple of beers, doing some interviews. It is going to be amazing.
Hey, 17 years no drinking for me this year, so I'll have an NA or a cup of coffee, bro. But
There we go.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. You know, kind of going back to the diversion therapy. And I always bring up Chuck just because it's such a good example. Because he told me, so that means I have the information. But I love that Chuck said this is my therapy. Chuck, everybody's favorite Marine, and he said getting in here, racing, talking crap. You know, having that competition, having that team that I get to race with, and Chuck loves his teams now. He's got about 5 different teams that he runs with because he loves to spend time with those folks. And he says he's like, this is my therapy. This is what I like. This helps me, and so it's a beautiful thing. I love that part of it, and I'm glad, like you said, that you know it's inaccessible to go and jump in a real race car for most people. And so,
right.
even sim racing can be daunting, and that's why I think Goat Locker is such a cool thing because you just completely take away the whole barrier of getting into sim racing, joining this community.
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier. So, Yeah,
Yeah, well,
just
talk
really
about that for a second, because that's an incredible thing that the Goat Locker does right there, and we can't let that go by the wayside, right? For them to set up a veteran, a worthy veteran, with an entire rig
Mhm.
and the funds to create their car,
Mhm.
right? The 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 dauntingness is gone,
Mhm.
right? It's gone,
hmm
right? It's
Yeah.
like I just handed you the therapy that you requested,
Mhm.
right? It's just like going to therapy. I'm going to give you the toolbox. I'm going to teach you how to use the tools. Up to you to do it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's
And that's a big deal. And when it comes to mental health and recovery and whatever you want to talk about, right? PTSD, challenges, moving on, life itself, you're going to have all them tools readily available to you. Now, the question is, were you open enough to hear them being offered to you,
Mhm.
right? Were you receptive enough to learn how to use them? Are you willing enough to look at yourself and say, I need to do this for me? And if the answer is yes, man, we got all the tools for you right here, brother. I'll help you along. Come sit with us, come be in the car, come talk, don't listen, whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No,
great.
it's cool. We talk about it all the time. And last year we gave away 6 complete simulators to veterans. We did
Yeah,
over $20,000 worth of equipment that went out. And if you think about where Goat Locker started, those are huge numbers. They're
yeah,
monumental numbers that
right.
we were able to do. Last week we talked a little bit about. I had a great conversation with iRacing. iRacing has funded us for 12 more this year. They are behind us 1,000%. We have the funds to do at least that many more this year coming up. So we're going to do a lot of really cool, a lot of great deserving veterans and first responders are going to be able to take part in what we have. We're going to take away, that barrier of cost. Because
Right.
a lot of times, the veterans and first responders, I mean, money goes to the family, money goes to putting the house, the roof over your head, the food on the table, all those types of things. The kids in school, they don't have that disposable income just to go spend, $2,500 to go sim racing.
Mhm.
So we take that all away.
Right.
So yeah, it's super cool. And I tell everybody, and I said it last week, and any chance, if you ever want to experience something super cool and you ever really want to know what Goat Locker Racing's all about, jump in the Goat Locker Racing truck with me and go deliver one of those sim rigs. It'll
Right.
hit home very quickly.
Right. Right. You're picking me up when we go deliver the one, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go do that.
Oh
All
yeah.
right. We still doing that?
Well, of course we're gonna do it, man.
All right. I'm going to be in Indy. I'm going to be in Indy with the NHRA in Lex June,
Okay.
and when the Nationals are on. So I had my schedule laying out here because I wanted to bring it up, but I can't find it now. But NHRA Nationals at Indianapolis with Lex June and the 222 car.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hell
Awesome.
yeah.
That'll be us.
Well, real
Yeah,
quick,
we'll be there. Yeah.
real quick, want to throw this back up on the screen. Save22.vet, youtube.com at Save22vet. We have all, I've seen y'all subbing. The subscriber count has gone up since we started. Now, let's go up. If you're not
Did it?
subscribed to Save22, that Tuesday
Hey,
talk
that's awesome.
is something good. So
It is.
if you're a vet, or if you're not a vet, just to have some civilian perspective on what it really means, I think that makes a huge difference, especially if you have a vet in your life that why are they this way, why is it this and that perspective can make all the difference in the world, could save a relationship, a friendship, something like that. So please go subscribe, go check it out, go watch Tuesday Talk. But let's talk a little bit more about Save22.
Let's do it.
We're happy to have you talk about it. We've been kind of going back and forth, but I really want to dig into it. How did it start? And kind of what are y'all got going on this year? What's 2025 looking like?
Goodness. A cluster right now in my head, if you want the honest truth. Trying to bring this around. It's not getting.
We'll
His
start
head's
off.
such a cluster he can't even figure out how to wear his hat right now.
We'll start
I
off.
can't even figure out how to wear my hat right now.
Tell everybody
Our first,
what's your role at Save22?
my role at Save22 is in flux right now. We're trying to figure that out. Right, we're reorganizing a little bit. We'll call it the president of the board right now, and see where that goes. It could change. I don't know. It's a fluid thing. Look, Save22 was started 10 years ago by by 3 guys on a back porch. And all they wanted to do was take a walk in their hometown and raise awareness of their friends that had committed suicide after leaving the service. That's the bottom line. And, you know, it has grown. A year later, it was a legitimate 501c3. And now here we are 10 years later, and we have partners in NASCAR, Winston, Xfinity, the NHRA, Goat Talk, Myrtle Beach, Mustang Week. I wish Albert was on. He could help me out with that. Only Fords, right? We do a hike here that gets 1,500 people, not to mention the extra donations. We do little small town, because I mean, that's where I'm from, small town, right? We do small town festivals. We do a car show, and we'll go set up our SAVE22 truck and our back porch setup, where we're just there for the awareness, right? Look, we're here if you need to talk, and we see people's faces, and Albert and myself, and Jason and Josh, and the guys that work these events, we're very astute when it comes to that, because we've seen it, right? We've seen it in ourselves, what we look like, or how someone can get triggered by something, so we can approach them. And you know, none of us are doctors, none of us are mental health psychologists or professionals or anything, but we're just guys that have been there, right? Maybe not in the same sandbox, maybe not in the same jungle, but the same headspace, right? And when you see that, and you can connect with that individual, and you can help them to release a little bit of that burden, that embarrassment, that shame, that guilt, whatever they're holding on to, it's worth it. I don't care if there's 20 people at that event or 20,000, right? You reached one that day. And, you know, we love that kind of stuff, right? And we're getting to the point where I need more volunteers, right? I need more people to come drive this truck. I need more people to go give the story, right? Because I can't do it 52 weeks a year. Al can't do it 52 weeks a year. You know, the thing about SAVE22 is we're all disabled veterans. Every single one of us is a disabled veteran right now that volunteers on the board. We just got 2 civilians on, so hopefully that'll help us with the civilian side of things, and it won't be 5 guys just running friends back and forth, right? You know how it goes. We need the business sense, right? Because we're all doing so many things, and it's all growing. It's chaotic, like you said, Pat. You know, there's so many things that we have going on. We do an ATYL music festival, right? Last year it was Joe Nichols came in and spoke or sung Travis Denning, right? He came out and hung out with us for a while after the event. We're still pulling those numbers from last year, but I don't know where we're going. I can tell you what I have on the calendar right now. You know, I got a request to go be at a cornhole tournament for 2 days. You know, like there's a lot, man. There's a lot. There's a lot. Follow TikTok, or not TikTok. Follow Tuesday Talk. Follow SAVE22 Veterans wherever you're at. We'll post it on the calendar. We'll be asking for volunteers. There's a link inside of save22.vet. Volunteer, get involved with the programs. Yeah, man, we're gonna be all over. It's crazy.
Well,
I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it.
Well, for Goat Locker folks or anybody from the outside that's just tuning in, SAVE22, and I just wanted to kind of throw this out there, and you could do this better than me, but I've got it pulled up, and and I'll just say it. But SAVE is actually an acronym. It's your 4 critical pillars. Shield being Shield for S, which is we protect veterans and first responders from suicidal thoughts, creating a strong support system to help them find hope. Assist, we build positive relationship with organizations to assist those seeking help. Volunteer, we create outreach programs to reach at-risk individuals, especially those unsure where to seek help. And educate, we empower local organizations and leaders with training and resources for suicide prevention. So just really cool to have those 4 pillars and stuff like that. If you want to just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Hey, that came from Josh Link, and Josh came up with that, and it's absolutely incredible. And if I remember my story correctly, they did it in a truck on a ride back from, I want to say, Florida, when we got hooked up with another nonprofit with Corey Taylor and the Corey Taylor Foundation, and did Welcome to Rockville, maybe I think it was called, down in Florida. And Wow. You want to talk about another organization, another incredible person, Mary Mottsteller, with the Corey Taylor Foundation.
I saw that
She's
interview
going to
on
be
y'all's YouTube. It's really cool.
Did
It's
you?
pretty sweet.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She's awesome, and those 4 pillars, if you look at it from an umbrella, kind of an overview of it, that's simply just having a conversation with a veteran who's struggling. And it don't have to be with suicide, right? It could be with anything. What triggered me, and I don't like that word triggered, but what set me down the path was a lot of events happening in a short succession, right? And they weren't life altering events. They just pissed me off. Like, how could you, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
simply having a conversation with somebody let me know that I'm not the only one they did that to, right? You're, you are just a number sometimes, but there are people that will treat you like a human being and will talk to you like a human being and will validate what you're feeling, right? I don't know your story, dude. I don't. I don't know how you got brought up. I don't know how many parents you did or did not have. I don't know where you lived, what you came from. Here's what I do know. You were a volunteer and you signed the same piece of paper that I did. You may have went the same places, you may not have, but the bottom line was at some point in your life, you signed that piece of paper just like I did as a volunteer. So whatever is going on in your head, I've probably experienced it too.
Mhm.
So let's talk about it. Because right now you're in Bolivar, Ohio. You're not in Al-Anbar province, right? You're not getting shot at to crit, right? I'm not grabbing a bag of mail from a I don't even know what he was, army guy, something running out of a bunker to get me to the back of the airplane to take his mail for him in Toledo, right? You're not there anymore. You're home, right? That service is done. Your wife is here. Your kids are here. Your dogs are here. And right now, everything's fine. Right now, everything's fine. You're still stuck on that thought, that feeling, that emotion because you haven't turned around and looked at it. So let's talk about it. So that's where the volunteer and educate comes in, right? So let me educate you on that feeling. Let me educate you on that process. Let me walk you through what happened to me and how I got through it in the hopes that when you get triggered again or that happens to you, maybe you'll reach out to that one person that you can talk to. Maybe you won't harbor it all to yourself, right? Maybe you will talk a little bit differently to your wife. Maybe you will not, raise your hand in anger or yell and, kick the door. Because we've all done it. We've all done it. And I was embarrassed for a long time, man. I was embarrassed that I let myself act that way. Until Jason, the former executive director, co-founder of SAVE22, we had a conversation on his back porch. Here's his back porch again. He just looked at me one day. I'm on his back porch crying. I think I just put my dad in hospice, and they said it wasn't going to be long. And I was driving down Highway 9 to his house, and I told him, I said, Jason, on the way down here, a semi truck went past me with a load of coal on the back, and I thought if I just jerked the truck right in front of him, it would all be over and I wouldn't have to deal with it. Number one, that takes balls to admit to somebody that you were dead serious about doing it, right?
Mhm.
And number two, for him to say, all right, let's talk about it. I'm here. My phone's down, the TV's off. Let's talk about it. What happened? Let's go on the back porch. He just asked me one day. I start spewing it. I start spewing, and he just says, "Bro, are you embarrassed? What are you embarrassed about?" And I told him, "I'm embarrassed. I got beat by a 12-ounce bottle. I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to help my dad. I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to help my mother. I don't know how to do these things." Okay. I'm like, "What do you mean, okay?" Well, I can't help you. No, no, you can't. But why do I feel better all of a sudden?
Mhm.
Right? Because it's out. It's out, and you just keep talking about it. Yes, I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to do this. I'm supposed to be this mega human guy that keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and I can't go no more. I can't go no. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to face this. I don't want to do it. Right? Come on, man. I got you. I'll be with you. I'll be with you. And that's what we do.
Well,
Mostly for each other.
Mm-hmm.
well, I know as civilians, we're really guilty of just not understanding properly. There's a lot of thank you for your service, and I know it's appreciated, but I you know what I'm saying. But I know that there's something to that of like, okay, but help me. You know what I'm saying? I need some help here. I don't need to just be thanked. You know, and it's nice to be appreciated, but you know, this is a weird question. If you don't want to answer that, it's fine. But what could civilians do? What's y'all's opinions on civilians and how they treat vets? Because everybody's supportive of veterans. Everybody loves veterans, and it's a lot of thank you for your service. But you know, and there are amazing people out there doing great work. But what could civilians do? What could you tell them to help them understand? Like, this is not just I need a thank you. You know, John, you said this before. We don't need a handout. We need, maybe a hand up. You know what I'm saying?
Hand up. Right. Right. Well, the first thing they can do is go to save22.vet and sign up for our email listing. Right. And then they can go over to Goat Talk and make sure they donate a couple bucks to you guys or Goat Locker. Right. And Goat Talk Live. And I guess the bottom line is your time. Right. Understand that everybody you talk to is fighting a battle, whether you know it or not. Right. A military person, a military veteran's battle, regardless of what they did, you're not going to understand it. You're not in their shoes. Don't try to understand it. Just listen. Right? Don't fix. My wife tells me this all the time. I don't need you to fix it. I just want you to listen. Right? I just want you to listen. So if you're a civilian and you want to help, listen. Listen. I know words when people aren't right because I've been there, right? And I've taken the time to take classes and educate myself more on suicide awareness and assistance. If you really want to know about treatment of PTSD and mental health, come to the events, right? Sit in on a Goat Talk Live. Sit in on a Tuesday Talk. Share it with your friends. Say, to your military veteran that you're concerned about, hey, man, this popped up. And I don't know, he just sounded kind of cool. Like maybe it might resonate with you. Just share it. Just share it. Just ask. The awareness is out there. I want everybody to know that 9 years ago, when I had my suicide attempt, and now it is way different. My daughter's an active duty member in the Air Force.
Tell them what she does. Tell them what she does. Come on now.
You want to.
You want to.
You want to brag. Go ahead. It's pretty freaking awesome.
I'll tell them if you don't. Look at that.
Yeah.
My daughter is an Air Force Thunderbird crew chief. She's on the show line. She's the number 2 airplanes crew chief. Yeah, she's pretty incredible. That's my hero right there, no doubt. And they're doing much better at making mental health an awareness thing and less of a CBI, a computer-based course where you just click through it, right? They're really talking about it, and they're giving guys immediate time off, right? Immediately they're with them. I happened to be with them last year. I think it was the last show of the year, and they had just had a friend of the show unalive themselves. And I went right up to the kid and I'm like, look, and he's a kid, and I mean no disrespect. He's an NCO in the Air Force, but I'm an old guy, right? And I just said, listen, man, I know what you're going through. If you want to talk, let's talk. And we talked. And what I found out was, man, they're a lot better at it than I was. Like they handled this a whole lot better than we did. Or maybe that's just my perception. Or maybe what we're doing is working. I don't know. But I know that the guys that I talk to now, coming up, they're much more open about their feelings. They're much more open about their emotions. They're much more open when they say, I just did 16 hours and I am tore up. Right? I'm tired. They're much better about that. than I was. So I forget what your question was. We got talking about Tiffany, and we're all over the place all of a sudden, man. That's just a
all good.
proud papa moment. That's what that is right there.
Oh hell, shoot! Thunderbirds, anything is awesome to me, man. I love all that kind of stuff. I'm a big aircraft nerd. So any chance I get to talk about aircraft and Thunderbirds and Blue Angels, any of that stuff, man, that to me,
All right.
they're my heroes. You know what I'm saying? That
I
type
got
of
it.
stuff.
I
Anybody
do.
that puts their hand, I even, the guys who are doing this number on the boats with with the lights. Those guys are my heroes too. I love them all. So because it's just so cool. I mean, I saw Top Gun when I was a kid, so I'm in trouble. So I was
Hey, we all did.
I was hooked from the very
We all
beginning.
did.
So who knew that you could take off on a carrier with a freaking tennis ball court? But a Tomcat could do it. So any chance you can talk about that stuff, man, let it fly, because I love it. But
Well,
John,
hey, I'm going to give you a little piece of trivia then, you
Okay.
aircraft nerd. You ready?
Oh, boy.
I won't get it.
What's the only
Just too much
aircraft
pressure.
to be used by both the Navy Blue Angels and the Air Force Thunderbirds? The only airframe to be used by both demonstration squadrons at the same time.
I think it predates me. So
Oh, it does.
immediately, I know how far my knowledge goes back, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be well before that. What's the answer? I have no idea.
The answer is the F4. There's two
Yeah.
F4 models sitting out in front of Burke Lakefront Airport when they come up for the air show every year. So those two aircraft, that's the one. And I got to crew an F4 model.
No kidding.
Multiple models. Oh yeah, I'm old, dude. In fact, I'm so old that my last job in the Air Force no longer even exists.
Well, that happens to all of us, man.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, John, it's been a pleasure for you to come on and talk to us about all this stuff, and pour your heart out, tell your story. That's something that we've been really wanting to do. Is it's easy to have a logo on a race or talk about it, do a read on a broadcast, but man, to be able to have someone in person to talk about it and tell everything. Jamie's trying to give me the answer in chat. He's typed F4 Phantom in chat. He's trying to help me out, but yeah.
My daughter chimed in too. My daughter chimed in and said F4.
Well, like I said, we appreciate you kind of letting us put a face to the logo. That's one thing that we're excited to do about Goat Talk. Goat Talk's sort of been, in limbo of like, what do we want to do? What's it going to be? And it just is kind of melded into this really cool vehicle that we're excited to drive around. And you're one of the, first passenger princesses for Goat Talk. And we're happy to have you and talk about SAVE22. And as I've been saying all show long, SAVE22.vet. If you want to volunteer, if you're up in the Ohio area, please do that. Even, if you're a civilian, if you want to do something, you don't want to just say thank you for your service, you want to do something about it. SAVE22, click on the volunteer list. I'll actually pull this up and show you. That way you can't have any excuses of saying, I couldn't find it. There it is right there. Click on that. Click. And get a hold of somebody. And, there you go. But also, we want to do something. Awesome. Goat Locker folks out there. Y'all, you watch YouTube all the time. You watch these broadcasts. Go to their YouTube. Hit subscribe. That way, when Tuesday Talk goes live, you'll be there watching it, and you can go support them because they are supporting what you do here at Goat Locker. So, anyway, thank you so much. We're really happy to have you here. We're looking forward to more. We're going to have you back on. There's no way as much as you got in that big old brain that we're not going to have you back and talk to you some more. So this is definitely not going to be the only time. But we're going to move on to some Goat Locker racing stuff if we're good. Pat, did you have anything? I don't want to just cut us off. Okay.
No. Let's roll on.
All right, let's roll on. Well, we love to talk about Goat Locker. We'll talk a little bit about the racing this week, and we got Daytona out of the way. And John, if you know anything about Daytona, we take all those 40 drivers that show up every week and then stick them together for 60 to 100 laps. And usually people get very upset, very mad. And so we're through that week though. And now we're in the second week. We start to hit some of the other tracks. And so far, I think the racing has been really solid, Pat. It's, we just right out of the gate started knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. Again, when you start these seasons and you put all these guys back on track together, yeah, you expect some fireworks, you expect those different types of things. I say it each and every week. I mean, we don't exist without the amount of volunteers we have, and these guys that have stepped up and volunteered this year have been phenomenal. So that's helped out a lot with the racing. It's helped out with the administration of the racing and getting all the things done, so everybody could just go out there and enjoy. But I think all of us breathed a big sigh of relief when Daytona was behind us. Maybe not me so much, because I had a really good Daytona Speed Weeks.
You did.
It was really, really good for me. You know,
what, 2 wins? Is that right?
I did. I won Xfinity and I won the Premier Truck. Which was awesome. But to get back to some regular racing has been really, really cool. The guys kicked it off Monday at Homestead in the ARCA series, had a phenomenal race. That was cool to watch. Tuesday we went to Rockingham. We have not had Rockingham on the schedule in forever. Yeah. And how cool is it that NASCAR is going back to that track? The trucks will be there, Xfinity will be there. That is freaking awesome. So we got to get on that track with 119 degree track temperature and slip slide around, which was fun. Last night's race at Auto Club was super cool. There's a guy with a beard that ended up getting the race win, last night, which was, hey, we'll take him where we can get him. And then tonight they had the late model stock, I think at Thompson. I think it was at Thompson Speedway here tonight. So,
yeah,
Eddie, I sit beside myself most days, man. We're doing so much stuff and so many races and so many different series. And the sports car series starts this Saturday.
Oh, I can't wait.
We had the 24 hours of Daytona, which maybe we don't want to talk about, Eddie, because our run at the 24 hour was.
John, listen to this. We're gonna get you in here.
Listening.
All right. So in real life, they run that. You've heard of the Rolex 24, correct? Okay.
Oh, my dream.
I'm not talking down to you. I just want to make sure we were on the same page. iRacing does the exact same thing, where guys get on their computers and race for 24 hours straight. And isn't that awesome? I mean, you think of a lot of people think of iRacing, and this one thing I love about Pat and what Goat Locker's doing is they're teaching people that sim racing is not just video games. It's not just we go in there and crash. This is some really interesting and fun, amazing times to have 5 guys have a car on a virtual track for 24 hours. This is pretty incredible.
Insane if you ask me. I don't know how you guys do it.
We're a little insane. That's how we do it. That's where
Well, people think we're insane for the stuff you and I used to do, Pat. So,
true story. That is a very true story.
Okay, all right, I'll give it to you. I think what's really amazing though is the size of the rigs. Right? Yeah. They don't take up a whole room. They're literally the size of a desk chair and like right in front of you laptop type deal. That's about as big. 6 feet, maybe.
I'm sitting in my rig, which is just a desk with a computer chair. That's it. I just take my wheel, sit it right up here, and that's how I race. So,
and you're good to go.
Yeah, you can do it a bunch of different ways.
It's definitely come a long way from Mario Kart. You know what I'm saying? So.
For sure. And it's such a cool thing, the 24 hours. And so we've got the GT3 series starting up, which I cannot wait. There's been a lot of support for it here. Everybody's excited for it. That's really good to hear. Road racing's tough if you've never done it. It definitely takes a lot of laps, but that's why Goat Locker exists, to be able to do that type of stuff. So really excited for that. My dad won the amateur
he did
race, which how about that? I was more excited about that than any win that I've ever had is when I heard Alan Smith, you're the amateur winner. I said, what? So that was his second.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, second race.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I was really proud of him, excited. He's been around for a long time. He taught me to sim race a long time ago, and he was always really good early on when I was growing up, and then I surpassed him. But he's always been into it, and man, he has gotten back into it hard. I got him a new set of pedals for Christmas, and he is calling me all the time talking about, man, I got the pedals set up. I went and did this C-Fix race, and this is where I finished. He's so excited. And so for him to win that race, man, it was so cool to hear. So that was probably my highlight of the week, is him winning that amateur race. I was just unbelievably proud and just so excited for him. So
Yeah, no, that was too cool. And we talk about it all the time, man. What we're doing in the ARCA series is so much fun.
Awesome.
What was an experiment last year that we're like, hey, let's divide them up into a pro division and an amateur division, but throw them on the track at the same time. So we're going to mix stock car racing and IMSA, and we're going to see if we can marry this little child and make this little baby. And it took off, man. And it's been so cool, to tune in on Monday nights, because you're watching the pro drivers battle each other for a win, and then you're like, wait a minute, where are the AM drivers at? Who's battling for that win back there? And then we threw this whole team thing together, so we paired, a pro driver and an AM driver, and they're competing for a team championship. I mean, we're just doing so many cool things with the ARCA series, and it's been some great racing at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, too cool.
Yeah, John. The weird thing about it is
ARCA's one of those series. ARCA's one of those series, live or on iRacing, that it's almost perfect, right? Like you're not way up there with the big boys. You're not down at the local track. You're kind of right there in the middle. And I've always loved the ARCA series.
It's definitely a throwback to the old like 80s, early 80s type NASCAR, late 70s, where you kind of just brought the car, and just did the best
Run
you
what
could.
you brung.
Yeah. But yeah, John, so just to kind of give you a heads up on the Pro-Am, why that's such a cool thing is because there's a lot of different skill levels. There's some really, really fast guys. Then you got some guys that are just getting into it, and it can be daunting for guys who are, just starting, especially those we just gave sim rigs to, to come in and, hey, here, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And so it's just to foster that environment of, hey, learning and getting better and having something to work for. And, sometimes you're going to hit your ceiling. Your ceiling is different from everybody else's. Some folks can shoot for the moon. Some are going to come up right here, and that's where they're going to be. And it can be a struggle to go out there and race every week and not have a chance to win the race, and so the ARCA series has those separations. And as you get better in the amateur, the goal is, hey, I'm gonna move up to the pro, and then I start, moving around. So it's just such a cool thing. I just think it's awesome. So
it is. It's really an incredible feeling to get better at something.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to let you know it's racing, and I went an entire season 1 year in real life and didn't finish a race. So, you got to keep coming back.
Jake Ellingson has done that in the virtual world. So that's
he has.
Shout out to Jake. Well, I tell you what, let's move on into some stuff. And of course, we got to start with the GOAT of the Week, one of my favorite segments. And what we do here with the GOAT of the Week is they're shouting out somebody in the community, somebody in our lives. Normally, it's in the community, but with John, we're going to let him kind of go outside of GOAT Locker. But GOAT of the Week is somebody that has kind of stepped up, made a difference, has done something. We've had a lot of really good GOATs of the Week so far. Mine this week is going to be Levi McCarty. In the Tuesday Xfinity Series at Rockingham, he came down pit road early and took one of his set of tires early, and then late in the race he ran out of set of tires, was up front, and we all know how that usually ends. He was 39 laps on his tires, really old tires. Everybody behind him was going to be coming, and he didn't have a choice to stay out, but he elected to give up the lead, drop all the way to the back, and just say, you know what, I'm not going to cause a problem, and I got to give it up. As far as GOAT of the Week, that's a pretty good one for me, because I love to see that. I love to see somebody making the smart move, not going to ruin anybody else's night because I didn't make the right call. And so Levi McCarty is going to be my GOAT of the Week.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Well, my GOAT of the Week is going to be good old Devin Smith. Devin was one of the guys that we gave a sim rig too. We did it at the Lincoln Tech Car Show. That's when I first kind of really met him in person. Obviously, I talked to him on the phone many a different times, and then he was selected, and we gave him the sim rig. And to watch him kind of grow and get better and better and compete, and then he's just getting so much more involved as well. He has ties, to a race team, and he is more than willing to help us get connected to that race team. And we got a bunch of stuff from him the other day as well, so I got a bunch of cool stuff to give out. And and I had the privilege of taking him out to lunch last week, and it had been a while since we sat down in person, and just to be able to catch up and hang out with him and to see him interact with people and help out people now. Devin has been awesome, and that's my go to the week.
That's my pro-am teammate too.
I know. This wasn't some sort of setup. I'm not trying to, that wasn't what it was supposed to be. I know it's the Smith Smash Bros or whatever the heck it is, but Devin's been awesome, man, and can't thank him enough for all he's doing. Not only in the virtual world, but in the real world.
Yeah, he's actually offered. I don't know if he cares that I say this, but he put it in Discord. He's offering if somebody wants to tour Arrow McLaren, at some point, especially during pit practice, which I think is awesome. So. I mean, isn't it cool? I love that through the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, through InVets, through Goat Locker, through all these partners, getting a sim rig, putting it in his hand. Well, I think it was Ohio. I screwed that up, but it doesn't matter. All the things that went into getting a sim rig in his hands. Now he's racing in the league, and now he's also giving back by, hey guys, come check out this. I've got connections here. I'll make something happen. So. That's freaking awesome. So shout out to Devin for that too. But John, who you got for go to the week?
Well, you asked me about this before we came on live. You said I had a choice. I could whoever I wanted to do, and I'm looking over here at my daughter's picture of the Thunderbirds, and I got to give it up to the Thunderbirds this week because they're at winter training right now out in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. It's 14-hour days. It's 2 and 3 flights a day. They're trying to go out on their very first show run, right? Like it's not all bells and whistles. It's not all a party for these guys at the air show, right? They practice and practice and practice, as does the maintenance team, the public affairs, the communications. That's 134 people, I think, is what they told me. It might be 130 of the best of the best of the best. And man, I just got to give it out to them because they make me feel like I'm part of the team when I go see them, and they're just an incredible group of individuals, all the way from the commander, boss man, all the way down to the lowest ranking. They're just an incredible group of individuals, and man, I'm proud to be affiliated with them vicariously through my daughter.
Absolutely, golly, that's so cool.
Heck yeah.
All right, well, let's do our veteran spotlight. One of my favorite things to do, and Brian Frawheiger, Frog, his nickname, was the 2024's final sim rig recipient, and he's been racing with us. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been he said it himself. It's been a struggle, but he has been out there every single race trying to learn and get better. And I'm starting to see it. Josh Unger. He came in, he was super green, didn't even know what the flags meant. Now all of a sudden, I was racing at Daytona last week, and I'm just piddle-paddling around, waiting on the race to kind of get stretched out. And here comes Josh Unger, right on by me, going 3 wide through the middle. And so he's done figured it out. So Brian will be there for too long, but he's our vet spotlight for January. And just want to shout him out. He served in the U.S. Army from 2001 to 2013. He deployed to Iraq in support of OEF/OIF with the 1st Battalion, 293rd Infantry Regiment. As a 50 cal turret gunner, he provided convoy security in his assigned AOR, and we're proud to have Brian here at GLR. So that is...
Yeah, and I tell you what, Eddie, what was super cool as well with Brian, I got an email from him the other day, and I know he won't care that I share it. Well, maybe he will, and maybe, he'll sick his chicken on me. I don't know. He's got a pet chicken, by the way.
Therapy chicken.
Yeah, and he sent me just the coolest email the other day. And again, those little things about just the impact it's had on him and how happy he is to be a part of Goat Locker Racing. And then what's so cool to me, these guys are the first ones. What can I do to help? What can I do to help you guys with your mission? You helped me out so much. What can I do to help you guys out? So he's doing some behind the scenes work, trying to get Goat Locker, Racing connected to some other people and some other organizations. And then there's that picture. I still don't really know what to think about that picture. But it's a picture of a very burly man in our t-shirt. And yeah, that's there he is. That's Brian, the frog. With the pet chicken. If he was holding the chicken, this would be the perfect picture. Yeah, so Brian, if you're tuned in, let's recreate this, but let's get the chicken in there.
Be careful what you ask for. You're not.
I know.
I really hope he does what the Army does. Please do it.
If it happens, believe me, it will be shared.
You better share it to me. I swear, you better share that over this way.
Well, John, there's a segment we do every week, and I'm going to give you the explainer so it makes sense. And we've talked about it already. We talked about Daytona week, and we talked about how guys get in here and they just talk trash to each other, and they get mad and they have to let it out. And we have a soapbox channel that only the people in the league can see after the race. If you got something you want to say, you can't hold your tongue. You're biting your tongue clean off. Well, you need a place to kind of vent and let it out. So there is a spot for that. And you know what? We found a lot of fun in, when you can laugh about stuff, the serious stuff is not so serious anymore. You know, you kind of hear what you say, and stuff that you thought was a big deal. Now all of a sudden it's not. And so we like to go back and just sort of read some of them and see what kind of drama we saw out there in Discord land. So we're going to do that. We call it the soapbox, John. So here it is right here. We have to get the music playing. I don't know if you can hear this, but
got it.
You need to shut the heck up on race comms and let admins race control sort it out. Short on fuel and race control extending it just for the heck of it because you gave Cunningham EOL when 64 asked for it. Clearing some blacks and DQs for some and not for all. No, it's the first race, not blaming RC. It's a thankless job, but we need rules that aren't rubber. And I read these verbatim, so I read all of that. This is how it's written. I personally think admin should just wipe this race off the book as a shit show and try again next week. I know I'm not the best driver out there, but God help me if I make a mistake out there. I call out a few things that I notice, and I'm considered the asshole for pointing out the fact that some drivers need to learn how to do shit.
Is Tony Stewart racing with you all?
Maybe.
Somebody did get called Billy Badass last night, so, so maybe so. I got to get back in character.
I love the music.
This track is like 4 lanes wide. We should be able to go 3 wide without having the car next to you bounce off your door. But no one can hold a straight line and everyone's running 2 lanes wide. I've never seen so much stupidity in my life. Oh, a wreck. Full throttle. Dude went full throttle with the whole field wrecking. Like, what the heck? Car inside. Door them. Car outside. Door the crap out of them. Car in front of you and car behind you. Let's give a huge bump into them as you're 3 wide. Some of the decisions made tonight by some drivers were absolutely horrible. You can actually see the suspension of my car from his onboard. Neat. You'd think when the entire field is slowing down in front of you that, I don't know, maybe you should slow down too. It's a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
The 99 is terrible. New race. Typical number 3 bullcrap. 2 nights in a row. Can't wait till Friday and see how that turns out. It's like being deployed in Iraq all over again. Driving down the middle of the road is the safest, and apparently it works on the track as well. Plow down the middle and everyone gets out of the way.
I love Daytona.
Daytona week definitely knocks it out of the park. So
it does. It does. Good content.
Thanks for that
Good
laugh.
content.
Thank you, man.
As always,
Man.
that's just for fun. We're not trying to, and we try not to have any names in there, so nobody's getting called out particular. So it's all for fun. So if you're offended by that, get over it. You know what I'm saying? It's all for fun. That's what we like. That's what we love to do. We like to laugh, and so I put some of mine in there. Y'all don't know it, but there's some things I said that are in there from time to time. So I'll take it. But that's a soapbox for the week. Well, I kind of wanted we've got gone over time, so we're gonna we're gonna wrap this up, but we do want to talk about the winners this week just a little bit while we can. We'll talk about Friday since we missed that in the Operation Valor Truck Series, and by gosh, if who won that first race, Pat? Do you remember?
I think this guy did.
Pat,
I think I was a little excited too.
Pat takes the victory. He was very excited on the broadcast, and it's always cool to see. He always puts his camera up there. I that's the best part about having driver cams is whenever y'all cross the finish line first and get to see the fist pump and the emotion. And sometimes for Jake, the tossing of things, it's like a pillow fight and feathers just go everywhere. But we'd love to see that. But Pat in the Jam Printing Promotions 07 machine takes the checkered flag on Sunday night. Sunday night was a mess for sure, but Chance Taylor takes the victory, puts that number 14 above the L-Line Media truck. Or no, it's above the L-Line podcast, excuse me. I got to get it right. He puts it in victory lane for the InVets Truck Series. And then we move on to Monday, the ARCA Series. My dad won the amateur, and it was the 81 of Chris Morse Jr., so a new guy to the league. At least I think he raced maybe a couple years ago. Yeah,
a couple years ago. Very, very talented driver. Yeah. And he's back this season. And talking with him, it was kind of crazy because he's like, "You guys really blew up," and I'm like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, we're kind of a big deal now." Yeah, kind of a really big deal now. So, but no, it was cool to see him win.
Yeah, it was great racing with him. We went back and forth. That Homestead became a fuel mileage race. We had to save a lot of fuel, and it was just a nice battle with him, me, and Jeremy Garner was a lot of fun. So that race went really, really well. I thought solid first start to that week. Then we talked about I don't think we talked about it. The winner, Tanner Bethea, won at Rockingham, and he's always kind of been pretty quick, but I was really surprised about how fast he was at Rockingham. He had such a great race, and there at the end just kind of, took off from the field. About the only guy that could get the power down on a restart. And Pat, you dealt a little bit with that, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I was much better in the long runs and things like that. So in that short run, I just didn't have a whole lot for him. But yeah, Tanner's got a lot of talent. He's a young man. He's trying to move up in the world of real racing as well. So he's sharp and he's got a lot of talent, and he put it on display on Tuesday for sure. So congratulations to him.
And then last night, man, we had the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series, which we've already talked about. A wild finish. It's sort of an asterisk win for me. I felt like I didn't do a good job after in the interview because I just didn't know how to feel about it. Coming to the checkered flag, those cars are very side drafty. You really can get up to the left rear, right rear, and just the arrow just kind of pulls the car back. And so Jesse, I think, was just trying to get to side draft as we came side by side coming to the checkered flag. It's just an awesome finish. And his car either he just moved up too fast or it jumped over a seam, I think, because it was really bumpy. Like the track, no doubt, was like you're just blah blah blah. And he just jumped up the track. We made contact, and we spun across the line side by side. 0.001 was the margin of victory. So shout out maybe a runner-up goat of the week. Jesse immediately piped up and said, "Hey, I made a mistake. I don't deserve that, and give it to him." And I don't know if I love that. And you never want to be given a win, you kind of feel like there's an asterisk. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I love to win them outright, but I definitely appreciate him going that extra mile and saying, "Hey, look, I made a mistake. I could take this win, but I'm going to give it to him." So shout out to Jesse Whittington. Pretty stand-up thing. I don't think anybody else is doing that. So really cool.
No. And then, hey, we got the results from tonight's late model race.
Yeah,
so Jacob Denson wins tonight at Thompson.
Oh, how about that?
Congratulations to him.
Heck yeah, man! All right, at Thompson. That's been a lot of that. That late model series has been pretty exciting. I got sent a couple replays to make that intro video, and I was looking through them all, and man, the racing was pretty dang good. So I think that's been a really cool series, and I think they've opened it up to
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody now. So
Yep.
it's pretty exciting. But let's see, where are we at tomorrow, Pat?
For Friday?
For the Friday.
Oh,
Truck
you would
Series.
you really would put me on the spot.
Well, it's going to
Like,
be Iowa, of course, my favorite track.
I'm not paying attention to the schedule. I got my win. I'm locked in the playoff.
Yeah.
The next 9 races are just fun for me. But Iowa's going to be a blast. I know how much you love it, Iowa, Eddie. I know it's one of your favorite tracks in the world. All those different types of things. I enjoy Iowa. So I'm looking forward to it, to get that truck out there. McConey, is going to put the setup underneath us, and we're going to go get after it.
If there's Iowa, I'm happy to be in the broadcast booth. I'll tell you that right now. So, cannot stand that track. But anyway, that kind of does it for the episode this week. John, can't thank you enough for coming on, taking your time to come tell your story, talk about SAVE22, and just yuck it up with us. It's always. Yeah, like I said, we want to put a face to the partners that are we're walking together. SAVE22, Goat Locker are going to be headed towards the same goal, walking together and supporting each other, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So taking time to come out and spend with us, man, was just awesome. Thank you again.
Well, hey man, I couldn't be happier with the results so far, man. This was a lot of fun, and it really took off really quick with Patrick and I, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. And I hope you guys can both hang out on Tuesday, talk with us one of these days.
Heck yeah.
I love it. Well, I'll bring this up again. Save22.vet. Go to the website. They've got their mission there, everything about them. YouTube.com/Save22. If you just search at the bar, Save22, it's going to pull it up as well. Tuesday Talk on Tuesdays. Definitely go watch the first couple episodes and subscribe. Please, guys, please. Everybody in chat. We've got 28, almost 30 people watching. I want to see at least 30 extra subscriptions than they had before and more. So if you can reach out to somebody else, say, hey, go check out this YouTube channel, subscribe, help them out.
We got 10 during the show, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
10 new subscribers.
I'm mad. That's not enough. Come on, guys, get over there. It don't take nothing to subscribe. Go click the button.
Push the button.
Yeah, just push a button. It doesn't take anything. That helps them. Whenever somebody searches SAVE22 or they search, veterans or anything like that, that will help them jump up through those search lists. So if you don't mind, please hit those buttons and go check out their website. If you want to volunteer, if you're in the Ohio area, definitely.
And not just Ohio either. You know what? We're a nationwide organization, right? We've got contacts and networks all over the place. We hooked up with guys out in Las Vegas last year for the NHRA event out there with Lex June. Albert went out there. We hooked up with a 702 veterans Facebook page. Billy Alt helped us out with that and got us 20 veterans and their caregivers got to attend that race that weekend, 3 days. Awesome. Just incredible the way that you can connect with other veterans to accomplish the same mission. We're down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area too. So it's not just Ohio, guys. We're going to be at Incarceration, possibly. We might be at Louder Than Life in Louisville, Kentucky. We might be back at Rockville in Daytona Beach, right? Myrtle Beach, Only Ford's like Mustang Week. We're going to be there. It's crazy the amount of things that we're at. So don't just think we're just in Ohio, guys.
Okay. Well, hey, I love the correction because I want to tell it right. So if you're going to be in those places, reach out, follow that contact list, reach out to them. If you want to make a difference, if you want to do something that means something, man, it's a great opportunity. So, John, again, can't thank you enough. Really, really appreciate it. Looking forward to having you on again. Can't wait. Can't wait for you to buy a sim rig and come race with us. I think that's the next step. So we're looking forward to seeing you on the track pretty soon.
It's a possibility. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, Pat, man, you got anything else we need to talk about? Did I leave anything on the table?
Now, what an awesome episode. It's been a whole heck of a lot of fun. Congratulations to all the guys that won through the Daytona week and just kick this week off as well. Everybody just stay tuned. I mean, we got so many cool things going on and such great partners and things to share. And then I guess the last thing is, I never knew a Goat Locker Racing hoodie was going to be so dang popular. But the first time around, we sold 44 of them. And then people kept asking, and so we put it back out there again. I think I've sold another 20 of them. So if you want a Goat Locker Racing hoodie, jump in the Discord, put your order in. I'm gonna get it over to Jam Printing and Promotions. That way we can get everybody some hoodies. And I don't know. I guess at this point in time, there's gonna be like 100 people wearing hoodies out there, which is crazy to me. But hey, get your orders in. We'll get you taken care of. We got some other cool stuff gonna be coming up as well, so be on the lookout for that. But I appreciate everybody and everything that we're doing together.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, guys. Good luck to you guys, man. You guys are doing fantastic, dude. Really. You know, we always say just one more, and it never feels like it's enough. One's plenty for the day. Okay. And even if that one is yourself.
Love it.
All right, don't forget that. Don't forget that, fellas. Thank you very much. This was incredible. Check us out. Check you out. I hope to see you soon. Let's do this again.
All right. Well, everybody in chat that was very active tonight, man, it was a very active chat tonight. Thank y'all so much. I'm sure it's just because John is here, but we'll take it. We'll take it. But everybody was in chat that shows up every week and talks in there, keeps this thing active. It's really awesome. We'd love to see that. We see it. We're watching. I also want to thank all the sponsors. Of course, we want to thank SAVE22 for being the sponsor of this podcast, Goat Talk, and all of our other partners that mean a great deal to us. But just incredible. I want to thank ATYL Media, Taylor Kitchens over there for letting us be on her channel and be a part of that community. It's been incredible so far. And Pat, Jamie, everybody over at Goat Locker, thank y'all so much. And I guess we're gonna get out of here, guys. We've got a lot of good racing coming up this week, and we're gonna get with it. So we'll see y'all next week. Gonna be a good one. Y'all have a good night. Bye.